So you said a lot there, Kori. And can you tell me, because you saw these two flyers for Jungle Gym and then a year later, Breathable Body, and presumably they sounded quite different, I would imagine, in the way they were advertised and spoken about. And so, what was it in each of them that really appealed to you? You did say that, particularly because you have cystic fibrosis, then breathing in the lungs is, of course, so important. But if you could talk a little bit more about what held such a resonance for you in the initial to seeing the flyer stage.
Yes. So when I first saw Jungle Gym, just the idea of exploration, of being with the body that was something different than fitness, working with the body in a way where you could maybe experience freedom and exploration and kind of what seemed like a little bit different or unique approach to play and expression. And I think some of the freedom maybe kind of resonated with me. And as I said, I was already a body worker and so had some awareness of different pieces around that. But really, yeah, it was the sense of play and exploration that really first spoke to me around Jungle Gym.
And then Breathable Body, if you could say a bit more.
Yeah, so with breathable body, I actually, when I hear those two words together, breathable body, even today, I feel uh, like movement between membranes of our being. So that's something I kind of felt into back then, and I had no idea what that would even look like. I didn't even know that that was had a continuum focus to it. But really learning how to to breathe has been a quest of mine, since before I knew that I was doing that. I was diagnosed with CF when I was about 2 months old. But also this idea that breathing wasn't isolated to the lungs. Breathing could be about being. And so,
And had you
yeah.
had any direct experience of that before, or were you saying that experiencing Breathable Body opened you to that breathing wasn't just about lung capacity?
I would say a little bit of both. So, I certainly had experience in exploring into my body somatically and feeling different openings, different possibilities that weren't maybe prescribed, and breathing in different ways. I had felt shifts. I had noticed difference from breathing, up in my chest to in my belly. And I had had some experiences where I actually was breathing underneath all of that somehow. So I had that. But then certainly doing that first workshop with Robert, and he was introduced. I was introduced to the octopus for the first time around the diaphragm, and that workshop actually was also done sort of in tandem with a Buteyko workshop, which I also took from him. So there was so much there that my body and my being just said, yes, 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 this resonates. This is something we can run with, work with, breathe with, expand with. So it was kind of a little bit of both.
And you mentioned that you're already a body worker and you had some somatic experience. And what was that? What had you done, or what were you practicing beforehand?
So I was teaching at the massage school at the time, and I'm trying to think then. Yes, I did. Okay, so I was practicing and had studied with John Barnes and did myofascial therapy work with him. And so I had experience in not only listening into another's tissue with my hands and really listening for response, and listening with my whole body actually when I'm working with another person, but also John used to say, and I completely believe this, that you can only take your clients as far as you're willing to go yourself. And so I got the work done regularly for my own health as well. But I had the experience of, in myofascial work, we call it unwinding. So really listening into the body and essentially taking the brakes off to movement. So I had that experience of kind of being moved by either life force energy or tissue memory, whatever name you want to give it. I already had that experience of kind of feeling in and listening and then taking the brakes off and seeing what happens. So kind of like in open attention, how we do that. You know, we apply sound with the continuum and then we give it a rest and open up to what's here. And then if movement comes, we move with that. So I had that sort of from a different lens.
Yes. And you mentioned that you saw Susan and Emily's movement and it moved you so much. And what was it that appealed to you so much? I know you said that you saw it this other way of moving, but why was that important to you?
Mm.
Why did you maybe yearn for that, or what struck a chord in you so much?
Yeah, I think it was I'm trying to kind of bring myself back into that moment too so I can tell you experientially. I really feel like there was something inside of me and my own system that responded when I saw that movement. And whether, even though it wasn't live in person, it was just a video, but there was something, a motor, a neuron experience of receiving and the witnessing of the ripples in particular in Susan's back up the spine. I think maybe she was on an explorer board. I wish I could remember the video offhand, but I can't in this moment. Um, but witnessing those ripples, witnessing that you couldn't tell in that moment that it was a human body, even that I was watching. It was this beautiful orchestration of tissue and freedom and intricacy. And, you know, I don't have words completely for what I felt inside. I just knew that I was moved and the tears just came and something in my body opened by witnessing that.
Yes. And something else you said that you'd felt what it was like to breathe in your chest and breathe in your belly, and also that you had this sense of breathing underneath. And I'm just really curious about what that might feel like and where that breath feels like it's, coming from, going to, what's going on there.
Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of conscious experience and exploration with breath, intentional, I guess I would say, in terms of learning how to direct my breath in different ways, new ways. And part of that was just, again, because of having cystic fibrosis and having the desire and need to train myself to be able to breathe with challenge and with restriction and through thickness and just creating movement and space in my lungs where sometimes there was almost none to be found. So I had that. And then, I was experimenting with different ways of breathing. What are the ways I can bring more oxygen into my system? Where are the places I can get more movement, both doing external things and working internally in my body? And I think it was in massage school, one of the first times where a person was working with me and they actually weren't, they were doing energy work with me at this point. So there weren't like physical strokes happening. But all of a sudden, I was just breathing. I was letting myself breathe. And I may have started with a little bit of deep breath just to ease in, but I felt myself soften on the table. And then it was like something underneath took over and I was being breathed. And there's a distinct difference when that happens. And I've experienced that many, many, many times since in continuum dives. And it's actually the inspiration for a breath that I created for, that I work with students called the water's edge breath. But the first time I discovered that breath, I was at Omega at a retreat and Val, one of the other Continuum teachers, happened to be next to me, and she just leaned over and whispered, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So anyway, it was inspiration to keep going with that. But um, I just have, it's like something other than the lungs and other than the belly, and kind of like underneath all things. And who knows? I mean, maybe that's underneath all existence. I don't know. But it's like the space between the cells and underneath the tissue kind of starts to take over, and I am breathed in a way that this person necessarily is not consciously doing it. I mean, I guess that's true at some level all the time, but this is different. Something else opens.